Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
You know, there's one part I want to, at the very beginning, I missed one part at the very beginning, and that is, who turned in Tyler Robinson?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University.
So let me get this right, guys. And a family member reached out to a family friend who contacted them and said that Tyler Robinson had confessed to doing the killing. So the family member says, hey, Tyler confessed to this and told a friend, didn't call the cops, told a friend, and the friend called the cops. Now I don't want to make too much of that because that could be just the erratic, emotional. I can't imagine having that information. Your child did something like that, or a family member did something like that, and you're like, I don't know how to handle this. You call a friend, I can't believe this. Like, we know, let's call the cops. Look, stay on the line, I'm gonna call them. That could have been what happened. That's the worst, that's the best case scenario, right? And then they didn't go tell Tyler, because Tyler would have left, so they had to keep that under wraps. So any talk about the suspect or the family working with Tyler, I think you can put that to bed, because even if they would have changed their mind, they could have let Tyler run. They could have, and I'm sure he would have ran if given the opportunity. So this guy was just chilling at home. I don't think they talked about where he was at the time. We got another clip. But what we know right now, so there's engraving on the bullets, and he went over the engraving on the bullets. The scope on the rifle, he had specific information, details that I guess weren't in the media. There was a clothing match, there was a vehicle match, and he also discussed Charlie Kirk and how much he couldn't stand the guy, and said he was coming to Utah. Now, some of that is circumstantial, but I guess the information about the weapon, and then the posts that were made in the forum, was it Reddit? I guess that information is also, you gotta take that in consideration. Bella Chow. Bella Chow, what does Bella Chow mean? Anybody know what Bella Chow means? I have no idea what Bella Chow means. Yeah, this is what I heard too, fam. I heard his own father collected. Wow. What? Pop collected the bounty, huh? Well, keep it all in the family, right? If my name's gonna be running in the dirt because of you, I might as well go ahead and get this paper. Wow. Okay, so let's go to the second video, guys. Before I get to talking, let's go to the second video and see what they have to say. They're gonna go into a little bit more detail. And we're doing this broadcast. This broadcast is brought to you by you, 10 Black Wolfpack members who keep us going, man. So I want to thank the people that support the show. If you're interested and you like what you see today, once you become a member of the show, go to join10black.com, type join10black.com, and starting at only $5.
Good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this.
Hold on, man. I'm going to interrupt for a second. Fam, why they talking like this guy was killed by the cops? No one thought a cop killed him, right? Why are they conflating? It's like, it sounds to me now, maybe I'm wrong here, guys. It sounded to me like they keep saying people were being patient with us and people were working with us and people were not violent as they waited for us to find who did this. What? The government didn't kill him, so why would people be mad at you? I mean, I understand they want you to work fast, but what's the civil unrest about when I think some of these people don't get it. When people get upset about what's happening to, say, an unarmed person who gets killed, typically a black person, that's who they report on, but white people get killed by cops too, occasionally. The point is this, they work for the state. So people get mad at the state. But if someone gets killed by a stranger or killed by whatever this was, and whatever you thought this was, that's got nothing to do with the state. I'm just saying they're like pointing at other people and other states and other situations. This is a totally different situation. Now, if a police officer pulled Kirk over for whatever and then shot him, yeah, maybe then people will be mad at the state. Let's keep going, guys. It just sounds crazy to me. Comment if you understand what I'm saying. Give me a 1 if you get what I'm saying. Give me a 0 if you don't.
So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again.
Last person we want to hear from is Cash Patel, tweeting out bogus, tweeting out garbage. What's up with this guy?
To our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country. And violence is tragic everywhere. And every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression, that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemy.
This guy's making a shrine to Charlie Kirk here. What's going on here, man? I want to hear about the killer. I want to hear about you and are you running for re-election or something, dude? We don't care.
Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded.
Grounded in hating on black people and saying how black people are DEI hires and black women are morons and don't have brain processing power. You forgot that part. I mean, that's a good part to put in there.
Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay.
Though he beefed on internet all the time about nonsense. Well, this guy's going to recorrect. They're trying to Santa Claus this guy. The Santa Clausification of Charlie Kirk is happening right now in real time. The Captain Kangarooification of Charlie Kirk.
He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence.
And that's the reason why
what we as a culture have to get
back. That's the reason, it becomes a lot easier for people to commit violence. And that's why most of the violence is committed by a bunch of conservatives pissed off. I mean, come on, guys. It's like 5% of these shootings are lefties. And I'm not even a lefty, but I know facts. We're going to get that number while this guy keeps talking.
Is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence.
What the hell is this guy talking about here? What is he talking about here? Man, this is bad, fam. Let me let him go about another 60 seconds.
Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
Nah, you do it there. You did do it there. It happened there. That's what happened. Listen to this guy try to spin this shit. This is what I was telling you earlier. For some reason, some way, you got to blame the blacks. In a state, somehow it's got to come back to black people some way, right? Somehow they got to shoehorn us in there, man, and put us in the conversation. Charlie Kirk was white. The shooter was white. The audience was 98%, 99% white. The governor's white. White. I just wish my teeth were as white as this story. But still, somehow, even when they find the shooter right in their own backyard, homegrown in Utah, he got to come out of his mouth some way to throw in black Americans or throw in something about us, and when he says violent demonstrations, violent riots, you know what he's talking about. Why would you even talk about something that didn't even happen? How about talking about the thing that actually happened? How about talking about the actual situation? No criticism whatsoever. I got to ask you a question. We're going to go back, but I'm going to ask you a question. What about accountability? Is there any accountability on behalf of these guys at all? They love pointing at a single mom or someone in jail for weed or couldn't pay his parking tickets or driving on an unlicensed, suspended license. Some black person doing that. But they don't want to take any accountability even when they kill their own people. It's still somehow, some way, the fault of a black rapper, or in this case, a black protest that did not happen. We're going to get more into it. We're going to get more. I asked this question earlier, guys. Was I tripping? Or did it seem like they were trying to make this about us somehow? And I said, give me one or two. One or zero. One is you think they are. Zero is Tim, you tripping. I don't think I'm tripping, Johnson. He just did it. He's still doing it.
Here. And indeed, easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us.
Yeah. Yeah, give it up for that. It was. Now, Conley, get off our backs.
I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last two nights. There was no rioting. There was no looting. There were no cars set on fire. There was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point, we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency.
What I tell you, man, I love being right. I love being right, guys. That's why you watch the Tim Black Show, guys. That's why you watch this. I told you. We guessed right again. Somehow, some way, we got to throw black people under the bus. In a state where black people only make about 2% of the population, in an event that only the stars of this show, Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter or killer, who are both Caucasian. Still, somehow, we got to point over there at black people some way, somehow. Make us the bad guy of the story, even though we're not even in the story. We shouldn't even be in the story. So Tyler Robinson, he's a 22-year-old. He had some beef, they say. And I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I went down the sort of like the rabbit hole on this last night. I was up to 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And the longer this thing played out, the longer they looked for someone, the more bunny hole digging people would do. And I think they would come to the same conclusion that I did, which is, I'm not buying it. Yeah, I'm not buying that Tyler Robinson did this, and if he did, I don't buy he did it alone. As I was looking at the new content of Charlie Kirk, as some of my viewers told me to do, as some people were saying, Tim Black, check out some of the things that Charlie Kirk was saying. Of course, he said all those horrible things that I've been talking about when I put in my videos where he said a lot of things about Black Americans. That's not why he got shot. He didn't get shot because he talked about black people. This guy was talking about the IDF. He was talking about the Epstein files. And folks, do you realize that Charlie Kirk has 3,500 chapters? Turning Point USA has 3,500 chapters across the country. Do you realize he does a show every day, a 3-hour show? Go look at some of the content he was putting out recently. He even in his own content was saying he was afraid for his life because he was going after Israel. He said in his most recent content, he was afraid for his life. And in that content, he said because he was going after Israel and he was going after the Epstein files. He didn't say he was afraid for his life because he said that black people don't know how to raise their kids, or black women don't have brain processing power and need to be DEI hires, or he didn't trust a black pilot. He didn't say he was afraid for his life because of that. He said he was afraid for his life, and he's been doing this 10 years. They held his flag, the flag at half staff for him. He got a military handling of his coffin, but the vice president, he was not worried about black people doing something to him. Black people don't take out a Charlie Kirk. Black people take out each other. Bars. Truth. Still, some reason, guys, they got to try to make it about Black America. And we know the reason, because they can have no accountability for themselves whatsoever. It's ironic that Nick Fuentes, Charlie Kirk, all these people talk about black accountability. They take no accountability for themselves, even when they kill each other. A white guy killed Charlie Kirk, apparently, according to the story. That's the official story. And still no accountability, no mention of we need to do better as a people. Why are we killing each other? This has to stop. This Mayo on Mayo violence has to stop. Nothing, fam. Nothing, fam. But if that would have been anybody else that did that to Charlie Kirk. Hell, guys. Did any of you guys really need to find Tyler Robinson and know it was going to be a white guy? I mean, we already envisioned who it was going to be because we're not stupid. You know, only 3%. I was looking this up. Right-wing extremists, often overlapping with white supremacists, anti-government, anti-immigrant ideologies, are responsible for about 71% of ideologically motivated mass shootings in recent decades. 71%. Left-wing radical motivations account for about 3%. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but if you're thinking, you're looking at the number 71% to 3%, as much as those guys talk about numbers and facts and nobody care about your feelings, well, what about the numbers on this? We're not even talking per capita. Did you know this situation that involved Charlie Kirk, this situation, it's all white. Everything's white about this. From Megyn Kelly crying to Candace Owens crying. She's white too. Well, white on the inside. But seriously though, folks, that they were still threatening HBCUs, hear me out. Hear me out, guys. I found a clip. This is somebody on TikTok that said this. I'm going to play a clip real quick.
This is why we say white supremacy is the issue. Do you see the person, the suspect, the man they are looking for, the man at large? Do you see this man, right? He's obviously white. He's wearing a Patriot shirt. They say that he may be a college student, a white man. I want y'all to stick with me. Now, following Charlie Kirk's unaliving, 3 HBCUs, Alabama State, Hampton University, and Virginia State University have received threats. Threats for what? The suspect in Charlie Kirk's unaliving is going to be a white man. So why are black people being threatened? Because it's all about white supremacy. And no matter what, white people who are racist in this country, who follow Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, believe that black people should not exist. And so instead of turning on their own people, because this was white on white crime, they are directing their anger towards black people that ain't got shit to do with the situation. I didn't even see a black person in the goddamn crowd. It was Utah. Ain't that like Mormon country or some shit? But no, black people once again, black students once again have to keep their head on a swivel because white, racist, Christian nationalists, KKK members, Nazis are all trying to target them for what? We didn't have shit to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk. It was white on white crime.
She isn't wrong. She isn't wrong, but let's paint the whole picture here, guys. There's a couple things that have been updated since she did this video. The number of universities, HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, that receive threats, including described variously as bomb threats, terroristic threats, or violent threats, leading to temporary lockdowns, class cancellations, and shelter-in-place orders, are 5 to 7. That's right. She said 3, but it's actually up. 5 to 7 HBCUs were impacted on September 11th, the day after Charlie Kirk's shooting. I got a list of them. Alabama State, Hampton University, Virginia State, Southern University, Clark Atlanta University, Spelman College, Bethune-Cookman University. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Lockdown, lockdown, cancellation, lockdown, shelter in place, tight security, shelter in place, and lockdown. How many? Do you think it was a bunch of lefties threatening to blow up schools, making terrorist threats at HBCUs because Charlie Kirk got shot? Or do you think it was somebody else? Why won't you take accountability, America? Hey, guy in Utah governor guy. What about you, brother? You been in our ear talking a hole in our heads about how great Utah is. Maybe your people didn't, wage war in the streets. Instead, they picked up the phone and started threatening black schools. As if black people went to the school and did the shooting. When you know it was you guys. You had to know that. Talk about a fly in an ointment. The fly in the buttermilk. There was no black people there. So that's the first. Folks, let me know what you think about that. That is facts. That is facts. If you like what you're getting right now, do know we do live streams here Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here. 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's our job. It's my commitment to calling it like it is. We've been doing this for over a decade. Join the Tim Black Show. Go to jointimblack.com. Independent media. I appreciate her, man. I do. I do. Let's check out the chat situation before we go to... Someone get the National Guard. I'm sure we would have over, 5,000 people watching this live stream if we were bashing leftists. I bash Democrats all the time. I don't know the ideology of the shooter, but I got to tell you, fam, I find the circumstances very suspect. I do. I find it suspect. Just based on the rhetoric that Charlie Kirk's a powerful guy. He was a powerful guy. And I don't see how the left benefits from this. In fact, it hurts the left. It builds up it unites the right, who in my opinion was splintering over the Trump and the Epstein files, so that they was kind of bursting at the seams. I didn't know which way they were going. And now they got a reason to come back together. Nothing gets you back together like an assassination. I saw D.L. Hughley say this ain't an assassination. Charlie Kirk got shot. That was funny. I liked it when Chris Tucker said it about Biggie and Tupac, but I get you. That was Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Let's say Chris Tucker and Chris Rock. Whoever came to mind, whichever the Chris. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up, man. Let me know. Let me know. What we got? First says, no, we knew, peace. We knew, but they were praying it would be a black person. Yes, they were. People were saying, oh, Tim Black, oh, Black America. This is going to lead us to civil war. Over what? Over yourselves? Right. Got nothing to do with us. Stop pulling us. Look, Black Americans, we got our own stuff to deal with. And we're trying to deal with that stuff. We don't need to be poured into everything that happens that doesn't have anything to do with us. And then we get blamed for it too. So here we go, guys. This is where we're going to go for big air. Let's see if we can. Let's go for big air. Yeah, you know, that Buck, you're right, man. I would have thought the shooter was from Kentucky too. Or anywhere where somebody shoots better. You know, I was looking at so many videos where people were talking about the marksmanship and how the person would have to be military grade, would have to be such a seasoned shooter. Like this person would have to be somebody that is very gifted or talented, spend a lot of time. And the last thing I thought they would find was a snot-nosed 22-year-old. I don't know. This guy a state champion in shooting or something. It just doesn't compute with all the build-up that I was hearing about this. You guys know what I'm talking about? Because I was looking and I was listening. People were making sense to me. They were like, hey, man, no, but it's 2 football fields away. And he's on top of a structure, and it's during the day, and he can't be seen. He's gotta be covert, and he's got a crowd of people, 3,000 people there. He didn't shoot anybody else. He only shot one shot, and only took one try, and he got it. And there's a canopy that's blocking the vision, and the wind is blowing, and the guy still makes the shot. This is somebody with expert marksmanship. Then they bring out old Tyler Robinson here. 22-year-old, barely peeing straight. Writing, if you're reading this, you're gay on the bullets. Appears to be a troll. So this is the other thing I wanted to get to, guys, because I was looking at all of this and I said, well, you know what? It appears to me, everything I've seen about Charlie Kirk, it made me go back and take a closer look at him. And it seems that Charlie Kirk, just like Candace Owens, just like many others on the right, used black people as a stepping stone. Yeah, bashing black people puts you on the radar with a certain group of people and gives you a stepping stone to success. That's why people like the Hodge twins, Jesse Lee Peterson, Officer Tatum. That's why they all do it, because that's what it is. They use black Americans as a stepping stone and a punching bag to go get the bag. I saw videos of Candace Owens crying over Charlie. And I get it, man. That's their relationship. And I'm not here to knock their relationship. She says if it wasn't for Charlie, there wouldn't be a Candace. And then I thought she wanted me to not be so mad at him. So why bring that up? That doesn't make me like Charlie more knowing that. But here's the thing. When you spew hate about black Americans, when you spew stereotypical talking points about black Americans, how can you then expect black Americans to grieve over the killing or the passing of someone like that? Like, I'm being serious, man. Go check my recent video on this. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute that you would expect black Americans, conscious black Americans, I'm not talking about the morons, conscious black Americans, to be, I don't know, to think fondly of a guy who shitted on him. When you spew hate to black Americans, how can you expect tears of grief and kind words? You didn't care. Charlie didn't care. Candace didn't care. All these people got their careers basically started by dumping on black people. And Charlie found a black-looking woman, really from the islands. Her family's from the islands, which she's very quick to claim, that would help him. Oh, what a great tool in the toolbox to have a person that looks black and a woman at that to say negative things about black Americans on the world stage in front of everyone. This will help build up that organization and deflect criticism when people call them racist. How can we be racist? Look at Candace. How could we be racist? How could what? I just said black people have low brain processing power. But how could that be racist? I'm with Candace. And she gladly took up that position, and she benefited from it and put the money in her pocket and grew in notoriety. And today, everyone's still kissing her ass. But if you burn all goodwill with Black Americans and you do it intentionally for money as a marketing play, and you won, you win, you become this person. You've used Black Americans as a stepping stone. Damn it, you build a following, only saying the truth. Black people are lazy and shiftless and violent. It's just saying the truth. It's just my opinion on all of these people over here. Why don't they ever have similar opinions of themselves? Textbook racism is to attribute the attitude or behavior of one individual to an entire group of people. That's what stereotypes are. But they won. Candace won. Charlie Kirk won. Well, in the end, he didn't, but he won. We all got to leave. He left earlier. That's true. But he won. He won to be in a position where he has thriving organization, his name ring out. The president did a 4-minute tribute video for him. Flag at half-mast. Military handling of his coffin. They're talking about erecting a statue in the White House for him. They're talking about naming streets after this guy. They're talking about putting him up there with MLK. The dropout who just repeated negative talking points about Black people. That's it. That's his claim to fame. And now you complain about the effects of winning. He won, and in death he's still winning. And what do? They complain about the effects of winning. Now, not only do they blame and threaten Black Americans, not only do they blame Black America for talking about Charlie in words that are a lot less than gracious, or graceful, or gracious, yeah, that's it. We all knew it wasn't a Black American who took Charlie. They said, oh, Charlie's just using words. He's just saying words, and they took him out for that. Then Black people online, after he gets taken out, just saying words, and now you're all upset and you're going crazy and you're making death threats to HBCUs. Huh? Get this right. You say someone took out Charlie over words, and how dare they do that? He should be able to have any opinion he wants. Then we got Black Americans sharing their opinions about a guy who had negative opinions of us, except Candace and Officer Tatum. And then you threaten to blow up our schools for words over your guy who you say was killed over words. But we didn't kill him. You did. Your people did that. Black Americans don't delete Charlie Kirks of the world. We delete each other over dumb shit. And we need to change that. What I notice is that all of the Candace Owens people, they want everything to be forgiven now that they've moved on. They've ascended, they've gotten all the mileage they can get out of dumping on Black people. Yeah, Nick Fuentes, these people, they've used Black people as a stepping stone in order to be embraced by bigots across the country. There's a big following for it. There's all these websites that we don't go to that are full of nothing but white people talking about Black people in the most derogatory ways you can imagine, fam. And they've ascended, they've grown from those people. If every one of those bigots sent him a quarter, he'd be a multimillionaire. Okay? That's how big it is. That's how many bigots are on America. contrary to what people be saying when they want to kumbaya, when they want to Emmanuel Ocho us to death on some bullshit about how we need to all join hands. It's a lot of bigots in the country. So they make that play for a long time. They do it for a couple of years, and then they try to pivot to the center and be the less fatty white meat. You understand what I'm saying? They try to pivot. But does that mean we're supposed to forget everything you did up to this point? And just like Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, when he started pivoting, and I will give him, he was pivoting. He had pivoted to talking about other stuff. He started talking about Israel, talking about Gaza, talking about the Epstein files. He had pivoted. But see, now he's in trouble because he pivoted to talking about things that impact people that actually have power in this country. You can talk about black people all the time. Hell, but there was a whole movie industry built on exploiting black people called blaxploitation films. Before that, there were like Birth of a Nation. There were films that had black people in the most derogatory frame of reference there could be. Going after black people is not a dangerous thing in America. They don't control any of the infrastructure to deny you anything or to cancel you. When white people get canceled for going after black people, they're getting canceled by white America, not black America. Forget what Al Sharpton says about Target. If it wasn't a bunch of white people as well involved in that, Target would not be feeling anything right now. So they want to be forgiven after they've made all the gains they could make off of going after black Americans. They want to pivot to the center. The problem is we have a long memory. And we do not forgive those things. Nor do they ask to be forgiven. That's what's crazy. Candace Owens has never come out and said, hey, man, I was wrong on that shit I said. It was just my way to get on top. There's a book they give you that says, hey, you want to be a star? Go after the blacks. You can go after the blacks or you can stay broke. And I chose to go after the blacks. They all get the book. Look at it, man. The Cartier family, the Hodge twins, they all get the same book. It's a book. It's real simple. It's not that long a book. Even the Hodge twins, the Patriot twins can read it. And it says 3 things. Go after black. And they do it and they win. But then when they pivot back to normal society where they want to grow in the middle of America where racism must be covert, it must be underneath things. You cannot be all confrontational. You can't be boldly racist. You got to be like, Bill Maher-ish. Got to Bill Maher your racism. Hide it in a joke. Adam Carolla style. Feel what I'm saying? Well, by the time you want to do that, but there's a catch. You cannot ever admit that you were playing the game. Now, I realize what I'm saying right now is extra advanced stuff for people. It requires you to think beyond black and white. No, some people can't deal with it. Like, oh, Tim, why you being all introspective? I'm trying to be informative. Because this is what they do. So they pivot back because to really go mainstream and get the mainstream money, you can't openly be David Duke. You just can't. You got to be able to dress it up like Arnold Schwarzenegger did. All those statements they make where they group all black Americans based on the actions of one black American, but never, ever, 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 ever do they group all the actions of white America based on what negative thing one white American does. They never do that. They won't do it this time. They won't say, look how violent white Americans are. They won't do it. Even when one of their shining stars is taken. Man, if somebody did something to a black icon, and if it was us, we'd be writing think pieces. We'd be taught everybody in black independent media, black new media will be covering it. We'd be going out it. We would, any of our not respected, but by our community respected, not mainstream respected, but any of the black Americans that do content and write books and authors and poets and musicians, we'd all be having an introspective moment amongst black Americans about what happened and why did you do that? And I'm not naming people because I don't want to put that type of energy out into the world about our people. But see the difference? To be true. We do it even with rappers who talk about killing us, who make money off of talking about destroying people in our community. We still get introspective and like, wow, why did we do that to this person? Why did we do that to our brother? Why did this happen? We got to stop the cycle. There's never that consideration when this happens with white America. They don't do it. They don't get introspective. They don't say, hey, because they can never admit that the violence comes from their side. We got a Utah governor right now shifting the conversation from a person from his state shot and killed Charlie Kirk in his state while using his free speech. He making that conversation about black riots that took place back under George Floyd when George Floyd was killed. You get what I'm saying? Y'all feel what I'm saying? You can't make this shit up. The governor of Utah made the conversation of the press conference about the guy who allegedly shot and killed Charlie Kirk about black people back in 2021. That's what he did. I'm going to close with this, guys. I want to put out a clarion call. A clarion call for everybody that's watching this live stream, everybody who you share it with. And you got to share this live stream with some people, man. Help people get some awareness of what we're doing here. I think what we do is different. This ain't about Democrats and Republicans. It's just about the truth. Every one of those Charlie Kirk applauding people like Stephen A. Smith or Emmanuel Ocho, these people that were chastising black Americans who are no-name people on the internet, on TikTok or whatever, who had a bad word to say about Charlie Kirk. I want them to show where's their same energy for white guys who killed him. Here's Stephen A. Smith. Where's your energy towards the killer? But see, the Scooby Snacks are not going after the guy that actually killed Charlie Kirk. The Scooby Snacks, for the minstrel shows, for the sellouts, are given to those who tap dance and go after black people who said mean things about a guy who said mean things about us. But they will have no such smoke for the actual murderer, alleged murderer. None. Now I don't know if, look, I'm a product of Prince George's County Public School Systems, Prince George's County Community College. So, hey man, fact check me. But I gotta imagine people talking about a person who is deceased, who said mean things in a negative way, is nowhere near as bad as being the people that unalived him. And I think if we're going to have a real introspective, real conversation, and we're going to really look at what we need to do as a country, we should be looking at what drove the person that unalived him. That should be the main conversation, not the reaction from the people that were victims of this guy's rhetoric, who decide to lash out against him when people are telling him they should feel bad for him. That makes sense? That's the conversation we could have. We should have. But see, these people don't want to be honest. Because the money ain't in honesty. The money is in butt kissing. And as long as white America needs a place to sit, and as long as Stephen A. Smith has a face, white America will have a place to sit. Bars. We had all these black conservatives ranting about black Americans. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with. I saw literal tears. I can't believe black people are saying mean things. Won't you come out now with a new rant? I can't believe white people kill white guy, kill Charlie. Where's that one? Why won't you update that video? I know why. You won't get 500,000 views of talking about the guy that offed Charlie. But you will get 500,000 views talking about black people. And that's how Charlie's dynasty was built. That's how Candace Owens' dynasty was built. And that's how the Patriot twins became a thing. And that's what mushmouth Jesse Lee Peterson has been eating off of for 15 years. My name is Tim Black. Thank you for being here. We'll be back tonight at 10:30 p.m. right here on the Tim Black Show. To become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack, which is my membership, starting at only $5 a month. Type jointimblack.com. Become a member of that. I'm a Democratic Party hater, but I'm no fool. Don't let anybody take your cornbread. I'll see you soon. Let's go to the comments before we leave. There are no black people in Utah. Hey, fam, I went to Utah. I was with a guy, Lee Camp did a show in Utah. He asked me to come. I came to Utah. I said, this is my opportunity to go to Utah and do comedy. And I went to Utah. And yo, I walked around Salt Lake City. Bruh. When I got to the airport, when I landed in Salt Lake City, when I went and grabbed the Uber, I said, wow, they said there weren't no black people in Utah, man. My driver's black. The driver turned around and said, I'm not black. I'm Nigerian. I'm on studies. Where do you need to go? True story. And then I used it when I went to the comedy show, and everybody that was there saw me do it live. And I have a video on Amazon because I put together my comedy special using clips from the cities I went to, and that joke is in there. And it really happened. So yeah, there aren't a lot of black Americans in Utah. The Real Riders Only says he got popped. Zabach the Midget says you can't blame us. William Terry. I used that in the last live stream on one of my videos, fam. Yeah, I covered that. They've been threatening HBCUs. Absolutely. 5 to 7 HBCUs received death threats, either had to shelter in place or lock down or cancel classes. Because when they get mad, we get the heat. A number of them shut down today. Yeah. Yeah. 200 yards or meters isn't far. It seemed like far to me, man. Yeah, and you know what, fam? I saw somebody say that. Someone said that 200 yards is not far. This is what it said. Here we go. Yeah, I thought it was Mossad or FBI. And fam, it still could be. Charlie Kirk was poking. He was poking the dragon, son. Charlie Kirk was poking the dragon, son. Marcus in the building. Give it up for Ryan McCurl. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you, fam. Candace can never come back. What's up, Cam J? Did everybody here subscribe to the channel? Did y'all all subscribe, fam? Come on now. Subscribe and cut on all notifications because, yeah, I think we do a good show here. We're tired of the tropes. Look at Tatum. Oh, God, was he crying? You know what's funny? You know what's hilarious was watching Anton Daniels cry. And I heard he prays on his live streams a lot. Yeah, that's like a thing that in my opinion, they weaponize religion and pimp it out. They pimp out the Lord to make clicks on YouTube. Oh, the fake cries, the crocodile tears, fam. Oh, man. Lord have mercy. When it happened, I said they're going to try to compare him to MLK and Malcolm X, and they sure did. $47 are using us right now. I don't know what that is, but I will. Oh, I see Ebony's in the building. What's up, Ebony, Buck, and Black Mamba? Man, I picked the right time to go live, man. I appreciate y'all. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I got to edit this out, get some video clips up for the day. We gotta put the content out. I want to thank y'all for being here. It's short notice. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Buck. Thank you, Black Mamba, for moderating. Does that mean all new generations of people are at fault? I don't know what you're talking about, but I can say this. Until we get things sorted out, right? It's not that people are at fault. My issue is with the government of the United States. Slavery was legal. Discrimination was legal up until 65. My issue is with that. Not necessarily individuals that are here now, like whatever. Like they're the institutional part of it started at the top, fam. And stop talking about you don't want to pay for anything. We're paying for wars right now. Nobody asked you, do you want to pay for Israel or do you want to pay for Ukraine? No one asked you that. No one had to get you. They don't give you a vote in that, do they? They just do what they want to do. So why such a pushback on Black people being able to get compensated because their families built this country for free against their will and never got to benefit from it? White people got to benefit from it. Your granddad got to benefit from that having to compete against Black people. That helps. You don't think that help people? That having competition? People be complaining about the immigrants, about, and all that good stuff. Anyway, I got to go, fam. Thank you, Ryan, one more time for Ryan, one more time for Kev J, hippo character stands idle whilst his new and most powerful body attachments do their thing, with the word OP in the background. Fam. Op. Fam. See, this is how Restream shows it's describing your picture. That's what it is. This is bad. It won't show the picture, but it gives a description of the picture of the sticker, fam. Hey, thank you, Kev J. Get up for Kev J, fam. It is what it is, fam. Someone said sickening. I like that term, sickening. That's what it is. Do not be fooled. The right wants you to leave left so they can indoctrinate you with violence. Fam, I'm independent. And I left the left because the left is garbage too. And when I say that, there are some policies I still support. But yeah. So I'm not going to go into all that because that's not what this live stream is about. But no, man, I'm an independent. Black Americans need to be independent. I don't think we can climb out of the hole that we've been thrown in this country by staying stuck with the same party. We've been voting Democrat 90% of the time for the past 50 years. And what's it gotten us? In 1950, Black Americans, 40% of Black Americans own their own homes. They did a new study in 2020. Guess what? About 40% of Black Americans still own their own homes. Meanwhile, over 70% of white Americans own their own homes. In new arrivals from Latin countries, it's a group, about 50% of them own their own homes. We haven't moved more than 2% in home ownership in 50 to 70 years. And we've been voting for the same party 90% of the time. I'm not going to say voting is everything, but it's the easiest, most accessible, big move we can make as a group. And all I'm saying is we got to demand something for our vote. Doesn't mean you can't vote for who you want to vote for, but you got to get something for it. And kumbaya and symbolism, it's not solutions. We don't need symbols, we need solutions. White people don't. This is what we need to do. All right. So that's my ideology. That's my thought process behind it. It doesn't mean Republicans are great. I'm not on parties. I'm on us. I'm not on parties. I'm on us, fam. So, yeah. But if you just listen to it and I don't tell you all that, you'll be like, this guy Republican? No. I'm just anti-democratic for the reasons I just laid out. Last thing, fam. If you go to a restaurant, you spend your money, and the food was garbage. You want to write a review about that restaurant. You can go to Yelp. You can write that. You can put it on TripAdvisor. You can let the world know this place has bad customer service. The bathrooms weren't clean, and the food was garbage, and the portions were small. Fine. That's all I'm doing. What we need to not do, some of us be writing reviews about restaurants we don't eat at, that we don't spend money with, and that would be the Republican Party. That don't make sense to me. You can't complain a party that you don't support ever don't treat you right. So anyway, yeah, so that's my thought process on it. It ain't perfect. Both parties suck, Johnson. Both parties suck. That's also one of my credos. I'm not delusional. The party at Ted Cruz is not the answer. But depending on what's going on in your local community, depending on what you're dealing with, depending on what's important to you, they may be right for your city or your state. All right, so that's where I'm at, fam. Hope that makes sense. Try to give a meaningful answer. Not just a soundbite. I appreciate y'all. I'm good. You're good. We good. Let the truth stand where it is. I got nothing but love for you. I'll see y'all soon. Come back, subscribe, turn on all notifications. We're not doing that enough. We need to turn on all notifications. Thank you to my moderators one more time. Buck Bewley, Black Mamba, and Ebony. I appreciate y'all. Nothing but love. I see you soon. Wolfpack. Oh, and I got to show you my girls because, well, you need to pick me up on a Friday. Happy Friday! Damn it.